case where we had an African-American guy who was a fan of mine. Great fan, great guy. In fact, I want to find out what's going on with him. You know what look at my African-American over here. Look at him. Are you the greatest? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay. So we have that was Donald Trump.
Everybody, welcome. It's that time again. Matt Connarton Unleashed. We're live on WMNH 95.3 FM, also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester, streaming at WMNHradio.org and on Facebook via Facebook Live on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. Had to restart the Facebook Live feed, so if you were watching on there, hopefully you're back into it. That track that I opened with, Joyner Lucas, rather, that was, I received a notification just a couple minutes into it that it was being blocked by Warner Brothers Music on Facebook. That happens once in a while. Doesn't happen nearly as often as it used to because we, when these disputes happen, we submit an appeal and say, hey, we're on a federally licensed radio station. We discuss politics. I'm playing this song. I claim fair use because it's relevant to what we're discussing. And 9 times out of 10, we win those disputes, and they end up Facebook, at the based on what Warner Brothers has to say about it, or whomever it is that's has the dispute that is blocking the video. They usually agree, okay, that's fine, and then they release the block on the video, so then it's available again. But in the meantime, I end up having to restart the Facebook feed because otherwise no one's seeing it. So let's see. So today is Tuesday, July 16, 2019. The number to call is 603-250-6007. 603-250-6007. We also have the text line that you can use, 617-917-4476. That's 617-917-4476. For those of you who would prefer to text rather than call, because, a lot of people don't like to talk on the phone. They'd rather text. And, of course, you can tweet me anytime at Matt Connarton. So trying to keep a close eye on that during the show. The Twitter, trying to get back into the habit of doing that because I've been picking up a lot of new followers. In no small part due to Chris James from Not Even a Show. A lot of folks that follow him and are associated with him are now following me, and I'm following them. And trying to, I'm trying to really improve my Twitter game, as I say. But the best way, of course, to reach out is call us during the show, 603-250-6007. And I've got the Facebook Live video back up on my computer here. I'm just going to share that out again, make sure that everyone can see it. So obviously, as you can probably detect from my choice of opening song and a couple of the clips that I played, you know what we're going to be talking about at the top of the show today. Let's see. Hello to Fred Boenig, who joins us in the Facebook Live chat. Jenny is in there as well. Let's see, and we'll get into some other things too, of course. Heidi Hamer, who said hello. The Honorable Heidi Hamer. Margaret Spiller, I think that's a new name that I've seen in the Facebook Live chat. She also says hello. Peter Joseph Golinas, a name from the past, says, not sure why I'm seeing this feed. Well, I don't know either, Peter. Some of you might remember Peter. He used to be, it's funny. He kind of started off, our relationship with him kind of began similar to our relationship with Chris James. A key difference being that with Chris James, we ended up becoming friends. And with Peter, I thought we had become friends, but then things went south. So, Peter, I don't know if you're listening, but, No one's forcing you, so I'm sorry if you're seeing this feed and you don't want to be. You can always close that. Anyway, so we have some things to talk about as relates to the way the show ended yesterday. If you missed yesterday's show, I was joined here in studio by the great Paul Cormier, who is going to be on the morning show on Thursday morning, apparently, along with Ryan Gorman. Will be joining Peter White on the morning show, which you can hear weekday mornings, 7 to 9 a.m. right here on WMNH. But there is some bonus content. Not everything that happened yesterday at the end of the show went out live. So I kind of went over our time in that. Hello to Michael Martineau in the Facebook live chat. Kind of went over our time in that. I didn't want to cut it off at 6 p.m. So what I did is I switched it over. So I ended the show on the live feed. Jenny is here. Hello.
Hello.
So I ended what was going out live, but I continued recording, and it continued to go out on Facebook. Oh, hello to Yasmin in the Facebook live chat. And so if you missed it, it is the couple of extra minutes that you might have missed, which was the pretty intense argument that Paul Cormier and Fred Boenig from the Daily Ripple, who had called in.
I thought they were planning a date.
No.
No.
They were, it was quite acrimonious, actually.
It was rather invigorating.
Yes, it was.
Gets the old heart muscle pumping.
It was good radio. I don't know how productive it was, but it was good radio.
I thought it was entertaining.
No, I enjoyed it.
I listened to it twice.
Yes. So it is in the podcast version of the show. Of course, we do archive all the shows at WMNHradio.org. Oh, hello to Rhonda Favero in the Facebook live chat, who says, happy birthday, Jenny. Today is Jenny's birthday.
I'm old. I know.
And so that was kind of how we left it. So I want to kind of address what happened, because I didn't say much. I kind of let those guys go at it. A lot of insults flying back and forth. Much more from Paul. Paul got kind of personal with it pretty quick. But the issue of contention, and I have some thoughts on this, and Paul and I talked about it after the show too, and I messaged something to Fred about it as well. But the main thing was Fred had commented, oh, hello to Angela Philbrook, who also says happy birthday, Jenny.
Thank you.
In the Facebook chat. Fred had made the observation that he feels that Trump's comments were racist, which I absolutely agree with. I mean, go back to your country is, I mean, that's some old school, like.
No, wait, Chicago is another country, isn't it? Right?
I don't believe so, no.
I don't know. It's pretty different than New Hampshire.
No. So that's like, that's some old school sort of 1950s style bumper sticker racism right there. So, you know, and of course, MAGA people all over social media are claiming, no, that's not what he meant. He's saying that they should just go back to their own districts where they came from and try to help there and whatnot. Oh, hello to NASCAR Nicey in the Facebook live chat. So, of course, what MAGA people are doing is they're just completely ignoring the part where Trump said, oh, you should all go back to your own countries. And ignoring, of course, that he was saying this to people of color, because no one would ever say that to a white person. I mean, well, actually, when white Europeans first came to this continent and began massacring Native Americans, I'm sure some Native Americans might have thought that. But of course, today, no one would say to a white person, go back to your country. So what MAGA people are doing is, oh, hello to Pete Trouble Morse and John Midas Manning, DJ Midas in the Facebook live chat.
Hello.
So when Trump says that to people of color, it's pretty obvious what that means. But MAGA people are just completely ignoring that part of Trump's tweets, because that's what you do, I guess.
Take that sentence and put anybody else's face in front of it, and their opinion's going to change. That's the twisted part about this. He can say and do no wrong.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I've never liked or disliked. I think you should say what you like and dislike about anybody in elected office. But for some reason, he's the untouchable.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to put the camera on me. Put the camera back on you.
Well, you were talking.
No, I like it better on you.
Peter Galianis says 100. I'm not sure if that means he agrees with me 100%. That's something the young people say.
What does it mean?
I don't know. And Peter says, not racist. It applies to anyone of any color.
Go where?
I'm not sure what he means.
What the heck does that mean? To go where?
I don't know.
Because there's a lot of places in this world you can find different color melatonin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, really, to go where?
He says, if they don't like what's cooking, get out. Okay, so
you get out.
So he's buying into the narrative that if you are critical of what's going on, or if you're critical of someone from the other party, then you obviously hate America. This is, I think this really bubbled up during the Obama administration. There was this narrative among Republicans. And, you know, when I was a co-host on Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades with the Honorable Gary S. Hopper, I would have to hear a lot of this about how Barack Obama actually hates America, doesn't love his country at all, wants to destroy America. I would hear that on a pretty consistent basis from Republicans. And it's funny, I never heard that about other Democratic presidents like Bill Clinton or Jimmy Carter, but it always goes back to that thing. It was like there was something about Barack Obama that was just different from other presidents.
I don't know what that could have been.
I never can quite put my finger
Maddie,
on it, what it was.
You are a very intelligent, sanctioned being. Why is it that you can't figure that out?
I don't know. I feel like it's right on the tip of my tongue. Like there's just something about him that I can't quite put my finger on.
I'm too ignorant.
I don't know. I'm thinking like it's probably something obvious. It's probably as plain as the color of the skin on the nose on my face. And yet I just can't quite figure out what it is and why that narrative among Republicans was so prevalent with Barack Obama. But anyway, so this, you know, I talked about it on the show yesterday.
Now,
It's the whole shut up and sit down thing. You don't get to criticize our government.
When I was you're doing the those people thing. You're doing the exact thing that you call other people out on. When I was a Republican and Obama was in office, I wasn't saying anything like that. And a lot of my colleagues weren't saying that. We were complaining about his programs and policies. We were speaking up if we didn't like something he did. But I never got involved in a conversation with somebody that had to do with the color of his skin. I personally never did. That doesn't, am I saying that never happened with some people? Of course I'm not saying that. But I'm saying to you, Matt, that you shouldn't use that whole groupthink talk to say, well, that's what Republicans were saying. Because I don't believe that's true. I believe that there was a portion of Republicans that were going on the color issue and the rest of them that didn't like the policies.
Well, let me clarify. No, I'm not saying all Republicans, but I am saying that was the narrative amongst many Republicans during the Obama administration. And that was something new.
That was the narrative on the far right Republicans. I would hate to think.
Here's the problem.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I would hate to think that the majority of Republicans at that time and age were judging Obama on his skin tone and not his policy and what he had to say.
I would love to agree with all of that. The only problem is, have you ever looked at any polling data?
See, I don't like polls. You know I don't like polls.
Well, have you ever looked at any polling data that shows how many Republicans believe that Barack Obama was an illegal president who was actually born in Kenya, or that he was lying about being a Christian and he was actually Muslim? If you've ever...
Did I leave out the fact that I left the Republican Party for a lot of good reasons?
Yeah, you do want to remind everyone of that.
I do want to remind everybody of that. When Obama was in office, I'll tell you flat out, I was personally upset that he ran and promised that he would close Gitmo and it didn't happen. I was personally upset that he ran and promised to get us out of wars and he sent more people over there and more people died. I am tired of the military-industrial complex ruling the day, and I guess that's why people like Tulsi Gabbard are getting my attention, because I want a no-war hawk president. I want somebody who's not willing to kill people. You know, and what you're bringing up is really sickening when you think about the fact that that's what's going on in our world, but our conversation is still about race. It's still about color.
Peter, the reason I'm not commenting on what you're commenting on is I don't want to get sidetracked with that, because I'm not done talking about what happened on the show yesterday.
Ah, yes.
So
I was trying to avoid the nasty.
I mean, Peter, I'm glad you've come back and you're participating. I kind of want to focus on the topic at hand. That's all. So maybe later we'll get into what you're asking about. So here's the thing about what happened yesterday. So for anyone who didn't hear it, so Fred made the statement that Trump's comments are racist, which again, I 100% agree. But Fred also made the observation he feels that if you continue to support this president, you are supporting someone who is racist or
that's not what he said.
Well, no, that is what he said.
No, it isn't.
Let me finish. He said that you are supporting someone who is racist or at the very least makes racist statements, and therefore you are racist if you support him. That is what he said, and that's because that's what set Paul off. And then Paul...
He didn't give that much of an explanation. He went right to, if you still support Trump, you're a racist, and that's what set Paul off.
Right, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
But he didn't have the explanation that you had preceding the comment.
Well, I don't know what you mean.
Fred didn't go into that much detail when he made the comment.
Well, he didn't
said
have
that it was a racist comment and that if you still supported the president, he felt that you were racist, which I disagree with. But that's what set Paul off.
Right.
Because he took it personally.
Right. So Paul got extremely angry, and now the reason, and then we'll get into why I see both sides of it and why I'm struggling with this myself. So Paul got extremely angry, and he talked about how he has a sister. Oh, hello to Ricky Litwinkowicz in the Facebook live chat. He has a sister who is very much a MAGA person. And his sister is a wonderful. I don't know Paul's sister, but Paul says that his sister is a really wonderful woman and does not have a racist bone in her body and loves everyone, but she's very, very pro-Trump, loves Trump, and so Paul. What seemed to upset Paul and what offended him so much is, the assertion that, Fred was making this blanket statement that if you support Trump, you're a racist. And Paul is saying, no, my sister is not a racist. Now, here's my struggle, because I think they both have a point. Well, let me tell you a little bit, and I don't think Paul will mind me doing this. Let me tell you a little bit about the conversation Paul and I had after the show, and then I'll tell you where my struggle is in all of this. And I'm gonna, and I might even reveal a little bit of history, because I don't think my dad listens to the show except on the rare occasion that he calls in. But so the discussion Paul and I had was, I said to him, I said, I believe you that your sister's not a racist and whatnot, but but I think this whole argument that you had with Fred raises a very interesting prospect. Let's say, so someone in your family supports someone who says racist and incendiary things, but you believe that individual can compartmentalize that and separate the rhetoric from the policy and so forth. So that individual might support the policy, but just doesn't agree with the rhetoric necessarily. I can understand that to a point, but, and this kind of goes, so in that way, I'm sympathetic to what Paul was saying. And again, we'll talk a little bit about my own family in a moment. However, on the other hand, to Fred's point, the question that I think this raises, and again, this is the part that Paul and I talked about after the show. I said to Paul, at what point, and I meant this as no criticism of his sister or anyone else. I was just raising the question because I think it's an interesting question. At what point when does it go too far? This is a difficult thing for me to articulate, but I was clumsy with it yesterday too in talking to Paul. But I guess what I'm wondering is, at what point does it go too far? What is the limit that someone can reach where someone says racist things? What is the limit? Like, in other words, how racist can someone be before someone has to say, okay, I can no longer compartmentalize this. I can no longer support this person even if I agree with them ideologically on everything and support all their policies, they have hit a limit that I cannot condone or look away on. And what is that limit? I mean, you know, would he have to, I'm not suggesting Trump would ever do this, just to be clear, before anyone gets mad at me, but would he have to be caught dropping the N-word? Would that be the limit? Like, what is the limit?
I think it depends on who you are, where your line in your sand is.
Well,
because if you
yeah.
remember when Trump was running for the presidency before he got elected, I was in his camp.
Yeah, briefly, yeah.
Briefly. And there were some commentaries that were made, and I literally remember saying to you, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't turn a blind eye to this.
Right.
I could turn a blind eye to certain things, or I could say, well, we disagree on that issue. I mean, Reagan was famous for saying, let's follow the 80-20 rule. If I can agree with you 80% of the time, then we can get along.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there. I was in that campground. But when the racist commentary started coming out, I had to make a choice. And at the time, I was fairly close to somebody who had Mexican heritage, and I kind of took it as an affront to them that if I stayed in that camp, then I was saying that what that person was saying was okay to say to this person that I was close to at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't do that. I couldn't look in the mirror every day and do that. That's my line.
Right.
Your line might be a little bit different. And for some of these people, apparently, we haven't hit their line yet.
Right.
Because I got news for you. I'd like to ask my parents the exact same question. In fact, we can ask them this weekend. You know, where are you now? Has what's been said changed your opinion in any way? I mean, I'm curious to know because I know, you know where my mom's love of music and art and stuff is. Has this finally pushed the line to where my mom is going to say, okay, I can't support that anymore, or are we not there yet? And does it depend on who you're saying? You said if somebody uses the N-word. Well, to people that find that offensive, yep. And to people like me who find the word kike offensive, yep. You know, I think sometimes we look inside of our own window and we don't pay attention to everybody else. And for me, I do. So when a comment is attacking somebody that I love and care for based on what they are versus who they are, I personally couldn't go further than that. But there are apparently a lot of people that can go a lot farther than you and I thought. I think society was at. We thought we were farther along, and we're not. We're still a racist country. Bottom line.
Carol Becker says, Matthew, I'm tuning in today. Thank you for hosting the show. Peter Keone says, any couches for sale? That's a callback to an old joke. And hello to Dr.
The
Jeff
one I'm
Cassell.
sitting on, buddy.
Hello to Dr. Jeff Cassell in the Facebook live chat. So I was...
Where's your line? I mean, how much racism can you tolerate from an individual before you go, I'm done? Is it one comment, 2 comments? Is it an offhanded remark, or is it many?
Oh yeah, none. I don't tolerate any of that. I'm very blunt about it. I mean, no offense to any racists who might be listening, but if you're a racist, you're dumb, and I don't want anything to do with you. Racism itself is stupid. We're all the same. We're all biologically alike. There is no difference. The only reason different people look different is because in different parts of the world, you have to have higher levels of skin pigmentation to not be destroyed by the sunlight, and that's why different ethnicities look differently, and that literally is the only reason between us. We're all humans, and you all need to get over it, and if you're racist, you're just dumb. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hi, Matt. This is Mary, cruising with Mary.
Hey, Mary.
You know, a while back, I was just listening to your show. Hi. And when you said, I don't think somebody as white would be told that, well, guess what? You know who I am.
Yes.
You know I have my show and everything. Guess what? I was at a store, and I was in line with getting, this I would say about 4 months ago, and getting my groceries. And this woman kid hit me with her basket. And I says, please stop it. Well, she belonged about, 2 of the baskets in back of me. But she kept cutting in. Well, the reason why she kept hitting me, because she wanted to be in front of me, and I wouldn't let her.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, either you stop, you're going to end up eating this basket. So she hit me one more time, and I pushed it back. because I was trying to get hit in the back with the basket. So finally they called somebody over. I don't know if it was a manager or not, and I told them what was going on. And I said, she belongs over there, not over here, because she went to cut in front of me. I said, I'm not letting her cut in front of me. So he says to her, you go and back where you belong. And she says to me, go back to your own country. Hello? I was born and raised in this country. I was born in Concord,
Right.
but raised in Manchester. And this woman had an accent, and I knew right off the bat she wasn't from this country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but telling me to go back to my own country.
Well, I'm not sure how you knew right off the bat she wasn't from this country. You can be from here and speak with an accent, depending on the family you were raised in. But that's bizarre.
I knew right off the bat she was not from this country.
Yeah,
you know, she's in this country, but to tell me...
I'm not sure how you knew that, Mary.
Go back to my own country?
Yeah, that's bizarre. I'm not sure how... I still don't understand how you knew that, Mary, though. How did you know right off the bat she wasn't from this country?
You know, I was told when I was a little girl from my sister who hated me back then, and I think she still does, and she says to me, I used to say, where was I born? And she used to tell me I was born under a rock in a dump.
Wow. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's bizarre.
Yeah.
I just don't understand the part though about how you knew right off the bat she wasn't from this country. Like, how did you know that?
You know, sometimes the way they dress, I could tell. You can tell people who's not from this country had come to this country. You know it. You know.
Wow, Mary. Really?
Being my age, where I am, you can almost figure out. You know.
Really?
But I tell you, I say everybody's welcome into this country.
Well, I agree with you there. I just have you spent any time in like big cities that are very diverse, like more diverse than Manchester?
Oh yes, I've been all over Canada myself. You name it, I've been into Canada.
Okay.
I've been into Arizona, another big city. I've been into different places where big cities are. You know, but I know what I know. You know what I mean?
You know what you know.
Yes.
Yeah, that's I don't know, Mary. I've had a different life experience. I've met people who were born here who speak with an accent because maybe they're a child of immigrants. Maybe a child of immigrants who came here, who immigrated here, but then but then the kid is born here.
You kind of know it. You
kind of know it.
Someone tells you to go back to your own country.
She's saying she knows it by looking.
And born and raised here in this country.
Huh? But you knew it. You knew it right off the bat, huh? What did she look like? Can you describe her?
Yeah, I mean, it's
God,
just.
Maddie.
Well, like what is it? Like what was it about her? What was it? What is it that tipped you off?
Sometimes, the way they dress, I don't mind the way they dress. You can dress any way you want.
It's good.
In what
I don't
way?
mind.
Like, are they like showing off all their cleavage?
You can wear nothing. I don't care.
Are you talking about people that walk around like half naked, or what do they look like? What kind of dress is it?
They have. I mean, they're beautiful dresses. Some of them, they really do. I really love some of the colors they have on them. And I've even gone up to different people, and they have these beautiful red and yellow, gorgeous, dresses that they wear, and their bandanas they wear, and all that. And I've gone up to them saying, you have beautiful clothes. I mean, if something I like, I'll go up and tell you. I don't care.
Right.
That's me. You know what I mean? But that day, I mean, I never had anybody tell me go back to my own country.
No, that was
the first.
That is bizarre. Well, maybe she assumed you were a white European.
It could be, but no accent though.
Right, but if she had
an accent.
But if she hadn't heard you speak yet, she might have thought from the second that she looked at you, she might have been able to tell right off the bat. She might have thought, oh, she looks Swedish or something. I don't know.
That could be.
She
could be.
She may have assumed.
Never thought of it.
Yeah.
Never thought of it that way.
Yeah. See,
Go back
there you
to
go.
Sweden.
But that's okay.
Right. Right.
That's okay. Hey, Matt, if you know anybody, I have tickets for the New Hampshire race up in Loudon for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And if somebody wants to call in Thursday on my show, 640-3091 at 5 o'clock, and give me their name, they can get tickets to go to Loudon
Okay.
for the weekend.
Okay. Yeah. Give that. So that's on your television show, Cruising with Mary, which is Thursday at what time?
5 o'clock. From 5 o'clock until 6. It's live. And if they want to call in, give me their name, and I'll, put their name down. And the one for Sunday, I will pull out a name for Sunday for them to go. But I still have Friday and Saturday. I will be giving away that day.
Okay, and that's on Channel 23, and of course you can watch that online at manchestertv.org. And
That's right.
And that's a live show, so people can call in and get those tickets.
Yep. You can get some free tickets to go to Loudon to the race, the NASCAR race.
All right. Well, very good, Mary. Well, thank you for the call.
All righty. Hi, Jenny.
Hi.
How you doing, girl?
Ducky.
Get
Thanks
you
for the
guys later.
shout out to those other people in
Bye.
NASCAR.
All right. Bye-bye, Mary.
Oh, no, Maddie. Oh, my, no.
Carol Becker said, "This is not a good look, caller." Yeah, I mean,
God,
it's
no.
you can I don't I mean, Mary is
How do I dress? Is it American or is it European or what do I look like? What kind of style is this?
you look like you're from America.
America?
Yeah.
Which America? Your America? The America gonna be great again, America. You know. She's speaking to them NASCAR folks there, yeah. I'm sorry. I love you, Mary.
Poor Mary. Oh, maybe Carol Becker will call on Thursday to try to claim those tickets. Who knows?
Are you trying to say something?
Or someone she knows. Who knows? Who knows? Oh, hello to Tony Petrello, who joins us in the Facebook live chat. Oh, we have another call. We'll grab this. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, man, Mike Doyle.
Hey, Mike Doyle. How are you, sir?
Troublemaker.
I didn't mean to start a boxing match yesterday.
Yes, it was all it was all your fault. It all started with you.
I know.
You
and
are a
all I wanted to do
trouble.
was have a discussion. Like, by the way, I want to admit, I just turned you on a little while ago, and you and Jen are having a nice discussion. And why can't that happen more often? Just discuss it. It doesn't have to be hollering and hooting and this and that and the next thing. You know what I mean? And it's just nice and refreshing to say, let's just talk it out.
Right.
Let's figure out who's right, who's wrong, if this is right, how to do this, how to help. And it's refreshing to hear you guys have a back and forth that, like she said, I disagree, he said that, and you go, well, hold on, let me finish. And it's just a discussion. It's good. It's all good.
Yes.
you.
That being said, I heard you say a couple times that, and the narrative that the left happens to be throwing out is Trump said, go back to your country,
Mhm.
right? And that's all they're using. But, I mean, it would be fair if you read the whole tweet, right, which had that context in it. I'm not defending it. He shouldn't have picked this. He shouldn't even have gone down this road
Mm-hmm.
because these girls were fighting with Pelosi. And when you got two of your opponents shooting at each other, leave them alone. Let them
Mhm.
shoot each other. Why he jumped in the middle and took the pressure off of, the battle that Pelosi was having with them calling her racist and stuff.
Well, he can't.
But let me read the tweet.
he can't help
and
himself.
just so everybody hears the exact tweet, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting to see progressive Democrat congresswomen who originally come from countries whose governments are a complete and total catastrophe, the worst, most corrupt and inept anywhere in the world, even if they have a functioning government at all, now loudly and viciously telling the people of the United States, the greatest and most powerful nation on earth, how her government is to be run. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came, then come back and show us how it is done?
Mm-hmm.
I'm
These
going to
places need your help badly. You can leave fast, and you can't leave fast enough. I'm sure that Nancy Pelosi would be very happy to quickly work out free travel arrangements. So he was mad because they continue to say these ones that didn't vote for the border support, right? They're only for in Congress, 3 of those 4 that are on the
Hold on.
the,
Wait a minute, buddy.
the-
Wait a minute.
group there
Wait a minute,
didn't
buddy.
vote for
Where
that
do you
additional
get-
money.
Hold on. Wait. You said you like conversation, so let's have a conversation.
Yeah,
here.
please,
Where
please,
in
I'm
the
sorry.
world do you possibly get the border out of what you just read, number one? And number two, did you miss the entire first part where he says the countries you came from? What countries they came from? They were born in the United States, grew up in the United States, serving in the United States for the American people. They are American, and if you're going to have pride in America, you have pride in all Americans, not just the ones that you think of flying the flag right.
That's a given. I agree.
So the
I'm not
entirety
arguing,
of
I'm
his,
not arguing
the
that.
entirety
I'm not
of
arguing
his
that,
tweet.
But
the
what I'm trying to tell
entirety
you
of
is the
tweet
narrative
wa-
is just go back to your country.
But that is
We
the,
hate you.
that
That's
is
what
the
people are
narrative.
saying.
No, that
And
is the narrative of what he said from beginning to end. Go back to the countries you came from. Go back to where you came from. Go back and fix the country you came from's government. The entire tweet is nothing but a racist rant. And there is no amount of conversation you can have that says it's not racist.
Mike, let me just throw this out there. I mean, if and just to clarify, I understand you're not condoning the tweet, but I mean,
It sounds like he's defending it, though. He's
well-
saying in its entirety of the tweet, it doesn't mean that. Well, the entirety of the tweet does say that. I'm sorry, buddy, but it does.
no, I agree that it does. I'm just saying I don't think Mike likes the tweet necessarily, but I don't think he necessarily agrees with us that it's racist either. But Mike, what if do you think Trump would have said that if let's suppose it was 4 white people in Congress or in the Senate who were giving him a hard time, or men that he was upset with? I mean, do you think he?
Yeah, but see, that's the big argument that's out there is who's introducing race.
He did.
He
It
did.
doesn't matter if you're white, black, blue, purple, green.
To
He's just
us,
saying,
but
why don't you
he
go back
did.
to the countries where you came from
He said
that
that.
are infested and totally broken, etc.
He said that.
I'm not adhering to this tweet. I'm just
Right.
trying to break it down a little bit. But
Yeah.
somewhere in here, because those 4 happen to be of foreign descent of some degree, everybody throws in its race. What if there was one white girl in there? Would
So you're
it have
saying
changed things?
that
if
you
there was-
don't believe the
Yeah.
tweet was aimed
It
at
would've.
those 4 individuals?
Oh, I do. That's exactly
Then
what.
how is
because
it
those are
not
the 4 that are
racist?
just saying that the border
You
people
just
are
proved your own
are,
point.
are
There's no
torturing
border.
children, and the border people. The
There's no
border people who
border
are
in the
700% over capacity and trying to do the best they can.
Dude, you're defending it. You're totally defending it, dude. There is
No,
no
I'm not. I don't
commentary
think the
in
tweet
that
was.
tweet.
I don't think the
that
tweet
tweet
was-
has
I don't-
nothing to
I
do with the
understand
border.
where people
show
are
me,
getting.
Okay, show
I
me
understand where people are getting
Show
that
me
twist
where.
and the
Read me
twins
the
that
sentence
that
that
it's
says
racist.
border.
I understand that. I do.
Read me the
But
sentence
what I'm
that
trying
brings
to
up
say
the
is,
border.
I don't think he was going for that.
No.
I don't think he was going. I think he was more
I think
going.
you're
trying to
out
tell
there,
us how to
buddy,
run
on
our
some
country and
planet,
help.
but it ain't the one that I read the tweet
and
on.
it came out wrong, and now they're turning it into a
Came
racist
out wrong?
thing. That's what I think.
Really?
I don't know.
When
I
you
don't think
tweet,
it's as
do you
racist
not
as
like
people
delete
think.
and
But
spell
Wait,
stuff?
wait,
he's got
wait.
many. He's
Oh
got
my
many
God.
African American friends. He's got many Spanish friends that all say he's not.
Mike,
But, It's a good narrative.
I gotta challenge you specifically on the "it came out wrong." If it came out wrong, why is he doubling, tripling, quadrupling, quintupling down on it at every opportunity, saying he didn't say anything wrong?
So you think he was? You think that was 100%? He was saying, you know what? All 4 of these ladies are not white descent. They're not white. So I'm going to throw a tweet out that really gets them for being black.
I don't think it's too hard to imagine that a dude that thinks we had airports in the Civil War did that.
Here's why.
No, I don't.
Here's why I believe he does it, because it excites a certain segment of his base that he needs
White
to win.
nationalists.
That he needs to win re-election. It's the same reason, Mike. It's the same reason why he was on CNN on the eve of the Louisiana primary, which he needed to win, and Jake Tapper's asking him about David Duke's endorsement of him David Duke, who almost became the governor of Louisiana back in the 90s. And all of a sudden, this 69-year-old man has no idea who David Duke is, doesn't even know who the KKK
and for
is.
anybody listening, if you don't know who David Duke was, he wasn't just a member
Right.
of the KKK. He
Right.
was like the big lead dragon of
Right.
the KKK.
Right, but the point is, all of a sudden, Trump has no idea, and because he wanted to get around having to disavow David Duke, and then once that primary was out of the way, he disavows David Duke, and he suddenly remembers who he. It's the same reason. That's why he does this, Mike, because there's a certain part of his base that loves this kind of stuff. It's a dog whistle. I think this one was particularly blatant, but that's why he does it. Trump may not have a racist bone in his body, but he's not afraid to pander
I don't
to
think
those
the
people.
guy actually is a racist. His daughter
I have no
converted
idea.
to Judaism. His
Yeah.
grandchildren are Judaism. I don't think that the guy is actually a racist per se, but he's still coming from that old school think tank. When you can legitimately
and you
sit
make
there
Jen,
and
that's
say,
a really good point.
wait a
You
minute,
may
but
be right about that.
But you say to
and the
poor
things he adds
black
to
women,
compounded with the
go
things he
back
said
to the
sometimes
country
are really
you came
stupid.
from. Go back and
And
fix the countries you came from. That is an entirely racist comment. But I'd like to ask you, where in that commentary are you coming up with a defense that he was talking about the border? Where do you derive
No.
that from?
What I said was he's been irate because these 4 or 3 out of those 4 have been thrown all over the news media saying that at the border these people are not taking care of kids, and kids are being abused, and people are being abused, and they're 700% over capacity, and they're trying the best they can there. Well, they got diseases, they got kids who are being raped, they're coming over the border. They've got drug dealers. Some are trying
Let me
to mix
ask you
in.
a question. I
they've
got a
their
question
hands
for you.
full.
I got a question
And
for you.
these
I got a
people don't
wait,
speak
wait,
English.
wait.
So
Wait,
these
forget
people have
people.
been negative
Can we
to
put aside,
what they're
let's
trying
put
to do
aside
at the
these
border.
people comments. Let me ask you one straightforward question. You see
Sure.
a video of children under the age of 10 inside
Right.
a cage with concrete to sit on, with concrete to sleep on, no blankets, no pillows, no water, one toilet between them. You think that's okay for our government to do that? You would approve
No.
that? Well, that's
No,
what's
so
going on.
why when
so
the
why
bill
are we
just came out for
approving that?
$650 billion to add on bigger facilities, more beds, toothpaste, blankets, why did those 3 vote against it out of the 4 that in all of Congress? Those 3 of those ladies that he's talking about voted against it.
Good question,
bill
but it
to
still
help.
doesn't justify the comment that it was completely
No,
racist.
it
that
doesn't.
the American
it doesn't. But I
president
think I'm
telling
trying to give
people
you
in
his
Congress
motivation.
to go
I
to
think
a
that's why
country
he was,
they weren't even
you know,
born in.
He's saying they're throwing out, they're yelling fire in a movie theater, but on the other hand, when it comes time to vote for a bill to help these children and these kids with blankets and everything you just said, they're voting no.
What else
Yeah.
is
I
in that
think
bill
that
is what I
is
want to
where the
know.
frustration
What
comes
else
from.
is
That's
in
how
that
I was
bill is
tying
what
it
I
in,
want to
that's
know.
all.
Because if there's one thing I know about Congress, they do not know how to pass a clean bill to save a single life in those chambers, House or Senate. None of them have got a clue how to pass a clean bill. What else was on that bill that caused a problem? That's what I want to know. Because, you know, when you see people talk about, oh, they voted against the NDAA. Well, did they, or did they vote against whatever Christmas tree thing they were trying to attach to it? Because that is done time and
Understood,
again
yeah.
in Congress. And if you do
Yeah, that
anything
happens
in
a lot.
Congress, there should
People
be a
always
bill
try to add on bills
that
at
says,
the last minute.
well, that should be
I'll
illegal.
vote for
We
you
should
if
make
you,
that illegal.
If you build me a new library, or if you build me
We
this.
should
or,
make
I
it
understand that.
illegal to have
But what I'm-
riders on
what I'm
bills.
trying-
A bill
yeah,
should
what
be
I'm just
germane
trying
to
to
the
say is,
bill and should
why
not
were
have
those the only
non-germanes.
4 that didn't vote for that bill?
Look at the bill, and then you'll probably have the answer. Is what I'm saying. Is there was probably
Yeah.
something else attached to that bill that didn't get as much publicity that would cause the no vote. There were bills that I adored the idea, but I voted against when I served because the bill itself was flawed. The idea was
do you
sound,
think that,
but the
do you
bill
think that,
was wrong.
Do you think that's a coincidence? That out of 300 and something Congress members, 4 didn't vote for it. 3 of them were the ladies who are in this text.
That he
you know, this,
targeted
email?
because of
Or
the
is that
result.
just
No,
a
I'm not.
coincidence?
Of course, it's not a coincidence. The government. It's the president doing what he does best.
Wait, that can't be right.
Yeah.
They're
People.
They're the only ones who didn't vote for it. That can't be right.
Do you have
That's
a
it.
link to
There was
that?
only 4 no votes.
How many
Well, that's
abstained
right.
and how many didn't vote at all? How many abstained? How many voted no and how many voted yes? That's what I want to know. That tells me a lot about a bill. Have you ever been in a situation where you read about any government, whether it's state or federal, walking out during a vote, they're recorded as not voting. Not as a no vote, not as a yes vote, but as not voting. Was there a walkout?
Yeah,
Was there
no,
something else that went on with
I
this?
agree with you. I agree.
I want to know the dirty
have this
details.
conversation without having to kill everybody. The only last thing, I think Paul got a little under his skin. That line that is it Fred from Philly? Is that his name?
Yeah, Fred Boenig.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll call in right after. He likes to do that right after I call. But he just said anybody who still something to the effect likes Trump is a racist.
Yeah, supports.
And that can't be any farther from the truth. I am 100% not a racist. My father was a racist. My father grew up in the war, had troubles in the war, and then continued it through life. I vowed that I would never be like him as far as that goes. My father was a great man, wonderful man, a loving man, but he had some issues in that regard. Yeah. And I vowed I would never get on that road.
I don't believe that anybody who still supports Trump is a racist. I don't agree with that. I'm sorry if that.
No, I believe you on that, Mike. I believe you. Yeah.
It's just not the way of me. I just not. I want to help everybody.
Right.
I don't think my parents are racist, and they voted for Trump. And as far as I know, they still support him. Although I'd be curious to have a conversation with them. I don't believe that they've suddenly become racist.
I put together the thing we had on the morning show Monday morning. We're trying to help the kids in Guatemala at the Fundamea Village.
I heard
and we had the lady call in from Guatemala Monday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was really cool.
We linked it to the website, and we're just trying to help this little village that doesn't have water.
I did.
Some people came in the studio that are going down there to help. So I don't,
yeah.
Everybody, if we all just help a little instead of arguing, I think it'd be better off.
Yeah, I did hear that segment, Mike, and I thought that was great. I thought that was really good.
Totally awesome.
Anyways, hey, good show, you guys. It's a good conversation. It's great when it's a conversation. It sucks when it's an argument. You know what I mean?
Although sometimes arguments are good radio. I mean, I thought that
it does get interesting sometimes to
Paul,
listen to.
Oh yeah.
Paul versus Fred was good stuff.
I'm a masochist. I couldn't turn it off either when they were going at it.
Truth comes out.
This is great.
Yeah.
Truth comes out.
It was good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Mike.
All right. Hey, good show, guys. Great show.
All right, Mike. Thank you for the call.
See ya.
All right. Bye-bye. And so that was Mike Doyle. Carol Becker in the Facebook live chat says, I'm trying to see it here because this screen's doing something weird. What if they just believe that people shouldn't be in camps to begin with? Well, that's a excellent point. Bill Murphy also joins us in the Facebook live chat.
Hey there. Pain Warrior.
Fred wanted me to make sure that Mike keeps listening after the call.
Does that mean he's going to call in? The light's flashing.
Pretty sure. Well, he might have the answer to the question on what else was in that bill. I assume this is Fred. Fred, is that you?
It certainly is.
Fred Boenig from the Daily Ripple.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Did you like the song I sent you, Run with Scissors?
Yes,
that's what
I
you
did.
should do on your birthday.
Yes, I did. And I was going to do that, but Matt wouldn't let me have the scissors back. He hit them.
Well, you get the rounded ones. It's okay, Matt. Let her have the rounded ones.
See?
Oh, all right.
And don't worry, she's probably not the kind that would eat the paste.
No, it's edible, right?
Oh,
it's
my
like
God.
marshmallow. It's marshmallow for my ice cream.
Might be
Didn't
too
you see
late.
my ice cream picture?
All right,
it might be too late.
We definitely need to issue a disclaimer for anyone with young children listening. I don't want to get sued. Do not eat paste.
Do not run with
and do
scissors
not run with
either.
scissors.
Unless you want to keep EMTs employed. We'd call that job security.
Right.
All right, Fred, let's hear it.
Okay, here's the deal. The reason, as I've said recently, and quoted the numbers, their budget for just the border is $4.6 billion. They're going to have less than 600,000 apprehensions this year. That's 13,300. Then they added $4 billion, 4.6 or whatever billion. So now they're really over almost nine something.
Okay.
$billion, right? Which comes out to, when it was $8 billion, it came out to $13,333 a person. That's man, woman, and child. $13,000. What the problem is, this is a money grab for the for-profit prisons who moved their convention to Doyle in 2017, gave $3 million to the Trump campaign, gave all those, gave Marsha Blackburn $100,000, gave Cornyn money, they gave all this money to these Republicans. This is not about not having enough money, and that's exactly what they said. This isn't about the money. This is the fact that the problem is they're not changing the way they're doing it.
Okay.
Throwing more money at it. They don't at 13,000. They don't have enough to give somebody a toothbrush.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Great point.
They're just stealing the money, and they use this pity, make these horrible scenes for people, which are true.
Mm-hmm.
But that's so that Republicans will go, look, they're not going to give us money because they don't really need the money because they're not even actually using it on the kids. And there was no restrictions in the bill that it had to be used on the kids.
Okay.
That was the problem.
Right. Okay.
There was nothing written into the bill that they actually had to do. That's what they said. There's no oversight written into this bill. You're just going to give them more money, and they're not going to fix the problem.
Right.
You can guarantee in 2 months from now, you're going to go down there, somebody's going to go down there and they're going to take a video, and the same crap's going to be going on. And they got another $4 billion to fix it. They didn't do anything.
Right. Okay.
And that's not, somebody gave me a bunch of argument about, well, that's the $4 billion is the Homeland Security budget. It's not just the southern border. No, actually, that's actually just the part. The $4 billion is the southern border. HSS or DHS is $44 billion. So, for the rest of taking care of Homeland Security.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole point is this is just a money grab, and they just paid off all their pals who are going to give Donald Trump more money to, be reelected. Because if Brennan, it's on your Facebook if you look there. I sent you the link. The Brennan Center just showed that the first year of Donald Trump, the private prison industry is like making a boatload of money.
Oh, yeah.
But if they're making a boatload of money, they're not actually spending it on the kids.
The private prison industry, too, it drives me nuts. I mean, I think I've probably told you before, there was a time when I was in favor of private prisons, and then I learned more about it, and I was like, oh, no.
It's like the judge that got caught, taking bribes to put kids in jail.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
With all kickbacks.
Yeah, that's a problem when you have.
Well, that's what this is,
right?
And that's why those women who are literally, I will post the link, but if you listen to them speak, you realize how incredibly talented, smart, brave women they are. They're not a bunch of they're all like, OAC, she's an idiot. Yeah, she has an asteroid named after her. She's, she graduated cum laude at Boston University in politics and economy.
Yeah, I was going to say she has.
Right, they can say what they want, but she's well qualified.
She has
to
two
do the job.
She has 2 master's degrees, doesn't she?
I don't know. I just know that when she graduated, but I don't know if she has a master's.
Oh,
I don't know if she has a master's.
Or maybe she has.
But I do know that's what she graduated. Her study was international economy and whatever the other one was.
Yeah,
that's what I just said.
So she's smart. But, whether just because people
no
don't
kidding around.
Just because people don't agree with her, it doesn't mean she isn't smart.
And they're afraid of her.
Oh, they are. Oh, I've said I was saying on the show just recently, if I didn't know anything about politics and I decided to just give myself a crash course one day and just watched a couple of hours of cable news, one of my first conclusions would be that AOC was the most powerful, influential politician in the entire country, maybe even in the world, just because they give her so much attention because they are so, the right is just, it's like they're obsessed with her.
People in Ireland know the initials.
Oh, I'm sure.
She's known by her initials.
Oh yeah,
worldwide.
They have made her
like her or not, she's there. You got to deal with her.
The people who hate her so much have made her so famous. They may have ensured that she may be president someday because they've given her so much attention.
Right.
not for a while, but down the road. I mean, they've made her career and they don't even realize it. just by demonizing her the way that they do.
How many
they've
young
made her a
women
hero.
are looking at that woman coming down the halls of Congress with her shoulder jacket over her and women flanking her, and she's coming down looking powerful? How many women saw that and went, yeah,
Right, of course.
we need more of that in Congress? She won
How
over.
many young women? How many women?
Absolutely,
Women
absolutely.
of color, young women of color go, I want to be that.
Of course. I mean, I looked at her. I looked at that picture and went, yeah, that's the kind of woman I want to be. Out there, powerful, leading the charge,
Right.
not following. Yeah, of course I saw that. And it was a great thought process for me. And I just turned 48 today. So there it is. That's how old I am, guys.
And she's out there standing up to bullies.
Right.
And not-
she doesn't
and not-
care.
Right, and she doesn't.
No.
And she,
She
you know, when they do
point-blank
personal
came out
attacks
and
at her,
said, "You are a
she's
racist."
like, snap her fingers at them. It's no big deal.
Right.
She doesn't
She's
have
not
the
afraid
fear.
of these people.
She's not exactly. She's not afraid of the old boys club that's gone up there for so long. It's changing the makeup of Congress, and quite frankly, I'm glad to see it. I'm tired of the old boys club. They need to retire.
You're right. And so the other thing about this whole racist thing, here's the deal. If people say they're not racist, all right? I mean, I say I'm not racist, but of course I'm racist. I was raised by racist people. I've been around racist communities. We all have it. We fight it, and I just went through this whole thing on it at Netroots Nation. We had a whole. I sat for 2 hours listening to exactly why, when we say we're not racist, we actually there's deep down somewhere we have some sort of thing that we don't like something about some other group. Whether it's blacks, whether it's whites, because they're the other side, or
Do you really
whether
think it's that?
whether they're religious, some religious belief.
Do you
we've-
really
we've
think
been
it's
taught
that, or
that.
do you believe that it's more a self-identity, taking pride in one's self-identity? So maybe you're a little nicer to that person because you self-identify as something similar to them.
Tribalism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tribalism. Right,
I
right,
kind
right.
of think I don't see myself as being somebody who hates somebody because of something.
No, but I think that's
But
what Fred is
there
saying.
an affinity
It's
to people that you're
Right.
drawn to people that are similar to you, and I
similar
think that
culture
you'd be
and yeah.
lying to not admit that.
But that's not, by my definition, that's not racism.
If
That's-
you're
that's-
kinder to somebody because they're a Catholic like you versus somebody who isn't a Catholic like you, does that mean that you're racist in a certain
Racist
level?
means when you think someone is less than you based on their race.
Right.
That's what racism means.
Right.
That's the definition.
Right.
So when you say go back to your s-hole country,
Right.
Jeez.
right? Then that means that there's something. You're making these kind of comments, and like you said, stop not this apologist for this stuff. That's my point. When people apologize for this guy,
Right.
and it's clear, there's no question. I mean, he was in court for years because they had all his people putting C's on it because black people came to rent his apartments. What part of that isn't? And
Yeah.
and when somebody says, "Well, I have a black friend," that's probably another one of those things. You know what I mean? That we all should be very careful of.
Right.
Yeah. So the whole point is, there's no question that he's not a good person. I mean, he's been caught lying 10,796 times, and they've documented him.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The man
97,
had to
98.
pay when he got into office $25 million for defrauding old people. $25 million. That's what he had to pay before he could get into office. He paid it, because he had to do the settlement on his, Trump's university.
Oh, Trump University.
Yeah.
$25 million.
Yeah.
What makes
Yeah.
you think he's a good person?
Right. Right.
Then he like, how many people do you know that are these great businessmen that bankrupt casinos? Nobody bankrupts a casino.
Right.
That's not
I
true.
mean, you're
apparently.
guaranteed to win. I mean, how many people? Yeah, let's just say, how many people bareback porn stars while your third wife, who is home with your fifth kid by 3 different women, is home breastfeeding while you're out doing it, and then you get to commit a felony by writing a check out of the Oval Office to cover it up and then lie about it on Air Force One. I mean, that doesn't bother anybody. I mean, well, you know, what about Bill Clinton? What? They're just scumbag too when it comes to that stuff.
Right, right.
You know, I sent you the thing today. There's the rape allegation by a young girl for him and Epstein. It's the court documents. I sent it to you. You know?
Yes, yes.
So, I mean, there's nothing about this man that is endearing. I mean, yes, I'm sure my 401k is doing well, but my 401k did double in the time period that Obama was in, because it was down and out in 2010, and the stock market moved 13,800 points under Obama.
Right.
It's, you know, so I mean, it's not like that's the only reason to have somebody, because of your, you know, because it's your own personal economy is doing well, because most people don't have stocks.
Oh, Mike Doyle just sent me an email. He looked up AOC's degree. So she has a Bachelor of Arts degree, graduated cum laude, which means top 25 to 30% of your class.
Yeah,
okay,
that's what I said.
Yeah, I thought she had more than one. I thought she actually had more than one degree, but maybe not.
No, but she had worked with Ted Kennedy, and she worked.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
she's been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
And when she was younger, she won the science award, or came in second in the science award, and because she came up with some kind of amazing science thing.
Yeah.
And she has an asteroid named after her.
An
Yeah.
asteroid? I did not know
An
that.
asteroid.
No kidding. Did not know that. She knows how to burn
Yeah.
a lot of things, apparently.
Yeah, yeah. I remember her own
Go
party
ahead.
tried to take her down too by discrediting her. I remember, was it Chuck Schumer? You know, because they didn't want her to primary. I forget the guy's name.
Right, because he was the minority whip.
Yeah, I remember Chuck Schumer talking about her when he was trying to take her down. Calling what do you call her, like a waitress or something, or a
bartender.
Or bartender, right?
What's wrong with bartenders?
Nothing, but Chuck Schumer tried to make it sound like, oh, she's not qualified for this. She's a bartender. Or somebody else, I think, maybe it was Pelosi, called her a coffee barista or something.
You know what? I would rather have a bartender in Congress than another lawyer.
Yeah, no kidding.
Sorry.
Amen, sister. Amen.
Truth is out. I'll tell you what, that's half the problem.
But as to racism, if and I know this is always that thing that they always do, and I know that you can call me on it when I do it, but because I see fascism. I mean, I'm doing a lot of research on fascism. I've now gotten 2 books down on this, Madeleine Albright's new book, and I'm working on another one. And the thing is, this fascist kind of mentality of tribalism, of nationalism, of making somebody the scapegoat.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody, you know, this kind of rhetoric about people, their nationality, their color, their religion, you know, it's real easy now to, you know, because you have Omar there and she's wearing a turban. So they're like, oh, well, you know, she must be, you know, she's a Muslim. Well, okay. And so she's not a good person, because we've demonized those people.
Because she
you know, they're all
chooses to wear a
terrorists now. And that's
hijab,
what she was
which
saying.
believes
You
is
know,
showing modesty
the
before
Muslim
God.
community
Okay.
needs to come out and denounce terrorism. She said that yesterday. So, but it's like, it's kind of what happened, you know, in 1930s. You know, the same kind of craziness. Because Einstein said it, if I don't speak out, then I'm complicit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
If you don't speak out against it,
You might as well
then
be
you're
doing it
complicit
yourself.
because
You might as
you
well
let
be the
it
one
happen.
doing it. But I would argue with you that that's actually our country, our nation's history since its inception. At first, it was
Oh yeah,
the
being racist
savages.
about being racist. Yeah.
It was
oh, yeah.
the savages. It was the Native Americans that were the savages. They were the lower race. Then it was people of color. They're not real people. They're cattle. We're going to sell them like property in the local corner market. Then it was, you know, signs up all over the place. No Irish need apply. No Catholics. When Kennedy ran, The argument was that if he was elected, the Vatican was going to move to the United States and take over the United States. We have consistently done that, and now we're in an age when it's constantly people who are in the LGBTQ community. But we're not done with religion yet. We're not done demonizing each other based on how we choose to or not to practice a form of faith.
So this is going to be a sensitive question, but if the people that he was talking about were Jewish, if the women, there was Goldstein, and she wore a wig because she was Hasidic, and she they decided, they said, well, all you care about is money. You would find that pretty racist.
Of course I would.
And that would be racist.
It would be just as racist as it is to look at somebody of color and say, go back to the country that you came from. It's disgusting.
They'd probably been happy to not leave to begin with,
No kidding. Can I go back to the ancestry of my roots? Because I get some pretty nice stuff going on overseas, let me tell you. There's some areas in Europe that look really nice.
How can someone, if someone said, well, that's okay to you, that he said that about Mrs. Goldstein or whatever. Oh, you'd be like,
right.
That's pretty darn anti-Semitic. You know what I mean?
Right.
You would feel that way. And then you would feel that if somebody
I hate to say it, but you're right, and in specifically pointing out and I'm probably gonna make a lot of enemies saying this, but there are a lot of people who are Jewish that, because Trump has actually taken a decent position in Israel and saying that the nation of Israel has the right to decide where its capital is, just like any other nation, or different things that he has done that other presidents didn't do, has garnered him a certain level of appeal. And I hate to say it, but there are people out there that are turning a blind eye because the racism isn't geared towards them, because it's somebody of color. And I find that highly offensive. And I think that I'm in the majority. At least I'd like to believe that I'm in the majority of people that would find statements like that, abhorrent.
I went to an anti-Semitic, teaching about anti-Semitism this weekend as well. I mean, they had one with Palestine. They had one with, for anti teaching about anti-Semitic. And what I found was that there's a very different group of there's liberal left-leaning Jewish people, and then there's right-leaning
that's how you have the Jews for
people.
Firearms preservation. That comes from there. There are Jews that believe. All Jews believe never again. I think that's pretty universal. Some believe in doing it while armed. Some of them don't. So yes, they cross all spectrums of the spectrum out there for politics. Absolutely. Just like black people, just like Christian people, just like Muslim people, just like atheists. They cross all lines of the spectrum, and you're gonna find that.
But the thing is, what you said was, well, you're happy that he's, or there's people, not necessarily, didn't necessarily say you were, but that he's letting, they moved the embassy there, so into Jerusalem. Well, that is part of Netanyahu, who is considerably a right-leaning, an ultra-right Zionist, and his behavior is not accepted by the people who are left-leaning liberal Jews. I mean, that was their whole thing. It was like, this is kind of odd, They were not happy about that because they knew they were maybe for a two.
You stepped on a pet peeve of mine, and that is the use of the word Zionist without using it in the appropriate definition. A Zionist is somebody that believes in going to Jerusalem and living in the land of our descendants, our founders, and our birthright, whatever. That you go home and you go live there. That is Zionism, the belief that is home, and that's where you go and you make aliyah, which is to go move there and live there permanently, not visit, live there permanently.
Oh, maybe Trump will tell them to go there.
It's not about anything grander than that, and it's a term that is demonized in politics and used as a weapon against Jewish people nationally and internationally, and I absolutely abhor it. I detest people not using the word Zionist in the form that it belongs to be in. Having a belief that Israel should exist and you have the right to move there, if you're of Jewish heritage, makes you a Zionist. Nothing else does. Nothing else.
But some of that was but if you think about it, it's Ashkenazi Jews that are there, right?
That's not
People
true.
from Europe.
Not true.
Well, I'm saying that's a predominance of, because the
Not
people that
true.
were there were probably much darker skinned and probably they were more part of the Middle East. And what happened was the only way the Brits would do it was they thought that they were going to have this colony, and the Brits were happy because they were like, well, we're going to get the Jews out of Europe. So yeah, sure. And they kind of moved that there with a different concept that changed in the 80s. In the 1980s, from Begin to Netanyahu, there's a big difference, you would
You
say,
have to
right?
understand something. Only in America is Judaism only looked at as a religion. Everywhere else in the world, it's a race.
Okay.
Hello to
But
Wayne
would
Noel in the
would you
Facebook
say
live chat.
that Netanyahu is very, very different than Begin?
Of course, they're different, but they also have a lot of similarities about them. And,
But they
and
didn't.
we were
They don't have the same
talking
goals. They don't have at all the same goals. They didn't have the same goals. That changed in 1980. That was after when Reagan took over. That when they got rid of Jimmy Carter, who was trying to get peace in the Middle East. That was gone, because that's when Reagan left.
Oh, there's never
That's
going
when
to
they
be
came
peace
to
in the
this
Middle East until
other
Palestinians
more
stop shooting rockets.
nationalistic kind of thing. It was more of a nationalist kind of mentality, which is that right wing. No matter who it is, right wing, anything is that nationalist mentality.
Well, one could argue that believing that being an American and taking pride in that is nationalism. And I have no problems taking pride in being an American.
But when you tell someone they can't protest, that's about the most un-American thing that anybody can say.
True.
Because it's actually the First Amendment.
I agree.
And it's protected by the Second Amendment.
True.
Right.
Absolutely. There we agree.
Hey, by the way, Mike Doyle just emailed me again. He says, anyone can pay $100 and have an asteroid named after them? Is that true? I thought it was a star. I thought
I thought that was stars.
I thought you could have a star named after you, not an asteroid.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mike Doyle needs to
Mike, buy
educate
me an
himself on a few
asteroid.
things.
It's my birthday. I can ask for one.
Tell him to just go to her Wikipedia page. You can go to her Wikipedia page. It'll explain, Mike. It'll explain. You'll have a much better understanding of what you're talking about.
Oh no, he went there.
I'm just saying he's not necessarily
No, I know.
talking about things that are correct.
Right.
And her Wikipedia page explains it.
Yes. Yes,
Dig a
indeed.
hole.
No,
Fighting
Oh,
will
I don't
begin.
need to pick
Fred's
a fight
gonna
with them.
start
I
now.
don't
No,
punch
Fred's
down.
picking a fight now.
No,
What is
I don't
with you
punch
two?
down.
Really?
I only punch up.
Oh.
So there you go. That was easy, right?
Dun, dun,
But anyhow,
dun.
again, if you are complicit, if you're a Trump supporter and you don't speak out about this and you try to apologize for something that everybody gets, you get it. You said it at the beginning of the show. This is the oldest. Go back to where you came from. You know what I mean? Love it or leave it. If you should be somewhere else because you don't agree with your politics.
Right.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
And especially when you're talking about women. And these guys are all about every one of these power women. They are so afraid of these.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are.
And because they're women of color, it's even more disgusting that this good old boy club. And if you look at the comments on any of these pages, Red State, because I troll all these guys.
Oh, yeah.
They're all white guys.
Of course.
They're all white guys making
Old
trash
white
talk
guys.
about
Mostly
these women.
old white guys. I'm sorry, but I gotta say that. And it's the truth. When you see a picture of a powerful man coming down the hallway, it's a powerful man. Show a woman doing that, and suddenly she's the B word.
Yeah.
Women are not looked at the same way as men are. I'm sorry, but that's still part of what we're fighting
and
against
that's
right
the
now.
Problem. They're afraid. You're beating on the same drum that I'm beating on, and I'm saying these are the people who do not want change in their world.
Yep.
That's why they don't like oh, these socialists. I'm like, you know what? Oh, these women that they want abortions. Well, and they're all, these Christian people.
Don't you remember when
big
that
fans of
battle
Israel.
cry was
They're
women
not
want
fans
birth
of Israel
control
because they care about
pills?
Jewish people.
Do you remember?
They're fans of Israel because they want the world to end.
Yeah, but Fred, what you just said, don't you remember when the battle cry was about women wanting birth control pills just so they could
Yep.
sleep around? Women didn't want birth control pills to have control over their own bodies. They wanted birth control pills so they could be floozies. That's what the right wing was selling everybody.
Yeah.
It wasn't about being able to control what your body does or even to be able to control what it shouldn't be doing because, let's face it, it's medicine. It's used in multiple ways, not just pregnancy prevention.
Including abortion is a medical procedure.
But you can't go there. Then you're just trying to be a floozy. It's about what you're wearing, lady. Get that red
Right.
lipstick off,
And if
lady.
you keep your legs together, you wouldn't ever need one, right?
Oh, yeah, if you would just do that, if you would just shut your mouth, sit down, and cross your legs, you wouldn't have a problem there. But it's because you women want to
Right.
speak up, open your mouths, and say something that there's a problem. If you just sit down and shut up, there wouldn't be a problem. That's legit what these people are like. And they need to die off. I think that's the only way we're going to get rid of them is they got to die off, and we got to elect more people that have 21st century thinking.
Well, that I think is the good news. I do think there's a generational aspect to this, and those people do die off eventually. I think that's why we've made the progress that we have made, even though sometimes it might not feel like it. And those people do eventually die off, and hopefully with each
Well,
generation.
it's when young people vote. That's what happened
Right.
to these women. They were able to get young
Right.
people who have understanding that they're going to be in control of this place real soon,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted to be part of it. And you see, a younger generation that is much more colorblind, is
Mhm.
much more gender
Yes.
non-specific, is much more. We don't really care about these issues.
But they're
that
also
you
the
grown-ups seem
generation
to
that can
want.
spend
They don't
$60
really
and get a
care.
DNA test, and they know that they're mixed. They know that they're part Irish, part Spanish, part Greek, part this, part that. They know that. They're growing up with genetics and the known. You and I grew up with X and X makes a girl, X and Y makes a boy in science
Yeah, but I don't know who my mom was sleeping with. He does, even though I look like the neighbor. You know what I mean?
Jeez.
We don't know that. Now we do.
Right.
Now we know.
Now we
even
know
more
that
so.
when they say, "Oh, well, I was a German and I used to go to a German dance thing," and then the next part of the commercial, the guy's in a kilt going, "Well, yeah, I got my DNA back," and turns out
Right.
you're Scottish.
I've seen that ad. Yeah.
Science has a way of growing humanity at times. And I think in this instance it has immensely by allowing people to be able to see what they really are. And all the amazing things that went into creating them are not from one specific gene pool, but actually a multitude of them. You're not going to find people that are only one thing. Nobody gets their DNA test back and goes, you're from London. All your family's from London all the way back into time. All the way back to antiquities. That doesn't happen. Nobody gets that result.
One of my friends he was 90% more Neanderthal than the average person.
Wow. I was less than the
Yeah.
average person.
But anyway,
only thing I'm 100% of is
my
Jew.
thought is if you don't denounce it, then you're complicit.
Right.
If you don't denounce, if you don't say, I like him for his economy, but this racist stuff is garbage and it should not be said, and he's wrong to do it, then you can tell me you're not a racist. But if you say, well, he really didn't mean that, that's BS. That's total BS. We all know it's BS. It's just stop. The man has a long history of it. It's not the first time, you sons of bees, sit down, because they're black athletes, oh my God.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And when these guys tell me that they don't like Kaepernick, you know why they don't like Kaepernick? It's not because he's kneeling, because he took a 58-second protest. Let's stop that. That's just nonsense.
Yeah. No, I agree.
That's not why they don't like him. It's because he's black and he's doing that.
Right.
It's why they get when that what's his name? Not Jesse. Was it Jesse? The guy who raised his fist in the Olympics in 1968, I think it was.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah, Jesse Owens. Owens?
Was it?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't
Yeah.
Jesse Owens.
No?
Yeah.
Was it?
Wasn't it? Yes, the
I
runner.
I don't know. Jesse
think
Owens
so.
was before that. I
The
think
runner.
wasn't Jesse Owens the first black guy in German, and he was in the German Olympics.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, maybe I might have it mixed up. I know what you're
It-
talking
it,
about,
It might be
though.
another Jesse. Matter of fact, I've met this guy. I met him at the Socialist Convention.
Didn't they demedal
But-
him for doing that?
But they demonized the guy, because he was
Yeah, but
saying,
didn't they
he had
actually
his fist up.
demedal him? Didn't they actually take his medal away because of it?
I don't know.
I believe that was the case. The two people who actually did it, I believe, had their medicals actually removed for doing that, for simply raising their
I
hand
don't
up
know
in a
that to be
fist
true,
to
so I
symbolize
can't.
unity.
I'm real careful about stuff I say. But
Yes.
well,
I
you
don't
have
know.
to be. I don't.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but they're not gonna call you on it and then hold you on it for the next 3 years.
This is true.
They
There
are
is
going to do
joy
it.
in being
And remember
retired.
the time when that
There
guy
is definite
from
joy in
Pennsylvania
being
said that when he was
retired.
wrong?
Well, we all know about
So,
you. You need
anyway,
to come
that's
up here
how
to
I
the
feel.
studio,
I
remember?
honestly feel if you don't denounce it, then you're complicit. And if you're complicit, you might as well take the name.
So you're saying that people are racist if they don't denounce him right now?
If they don't say that's a wrong thing to do, if they try to apologize for him, that is a racist thing. Because
If they
it's
try
like
to
saying,
apologize,
well,
yes. But if they're not saying they're going to back away from, they still support him, they don't like it, but they still support him, I can't say that
that's
they're
fine.
a racist.
They can say they support him as long as they say out front, look, that was a racist comment. It's wrong. He should never say that. I don't. And if he continues to say that, I won't support him, because if he does continue to say it, then you're saying I support a racist. So,
By the
it's
way,
kind of a catch-22 for all of them.
right. By the way,
You
Mike,
know, and you might ask your dad, because I know that's going to be a big conversation.
I'm
Because
afraid.
your dad's going to say that was wrong. You know that. You do know in your
I'm
heart
afraid
he's
to
going
ask
to
my
say that's wrong.
parents, to tell you the truth. I don't want them to tell me the wrong answer.
It's funny you bring that up, Fred, because one of the things that I was thinking about after the show yesterday was I kind of had an urge to text my dad and say, hey, I just need to know where you are on this particular thing. And I'm actually afraid to, because I'm afraid I'm not going to like the answer I get from him. You know what I mean?
Your dad's smart enough to know. Your dad is the guy who would have told you that that's a dog whistle.
I know, but that's the irony. Like the whole reason I'm not a racist D-bag is because my parents raised me not to be, and then
Right.
but and my parents my parents raised me not to support this kind of stuff, and then to hear my dad just go full MAGA.
You're not alone, though.
It's so I know
My
it's
dad's the same way. And I remember I
baffling.
told you when I was a kid, I had a grandparent that told me it was okay to be friends with people who were black, but not anything more than that. Because they had, apparently it had been noticed that I and the neighbor's son had an attraction to one another, and he happened to be a young child who was black, and I was legit said that. And I remember like just being floored by that comment, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just got said to me. And my dad was absolutely not that way at all. It's perfectly okay. You love somebody for who they are. Doesn't matter, that's how my dad has been. And now, yeah, I'm wondering the same thing you are, Maddie. Is this the line that's going to make them fall off the train, or are they still hanging on?
By the way, so Mike Doyle just emailed. He was listening to what you said, Fred. He said when she submitted, again, this is referring to AOC, when she submitted her high school microbiology project in 2007 and won second place at Intel's Science and Engineering Fair, she automatically won the naming rights to an asteroid found by Linear. And Linear is in all caps,
Yep.
so that's an acronym for something.
That's
so
really
true
cool.
then, right? So it's true. She
Yeah.
did it because she won, because she won
That's
the
really
science
neat.
contest because she came up with something, right?
Yes,
See, I
yes.
like that. And especially that she was a young lady in the science competition. I mean, for me, I'm hearing that and thinking that's awesome.
Right.
I want to see
That's
more
what I'm
women
saying.
in
She
science.
didn't spend
for us.
$100 to do it. That was my point.
Right.
I like that.
She achieved something to have that to be able to do that.
At a very young age, mind you.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Fred. Well,
Well, I'll let you get back to the show because I know you need to do that. But again, that's just my view, and Sorry if yesterday got out of hand.
No, don't be. I thought it was great. I was in my glory because
I know it's great radio. I believe me. Anybody gets great radio, I do. I'm not allowed to do that because my boss gets nervous.
Right. I know.
I can't even do bad radio. I got a call this morning that said, I love the music that you play. I love the station, but I don't like your commentary, your political commentary. And I'm thinking, I talk maybe 3 minutes an hour. I mean, I don't even back announce half the songs.
Yeah.
And this guy, he's nervous because of the things I say in his 3 minutes. So, And then I have other people that call and say, you need to talk more.
Right, right.
Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Then I won't have a job.
Yeah. You can never please everyone. Oh, by the way, Fred, just before we let you go. So Bill Murphy just emailed me, and he says, relative to the black athletes raising their fists, they did keep their medals, but they were ostracized for their action. Okay, but they were not demedaled for that, that's good. Okay. All right, Fred. Well, thank you.
Thank you, boss.
Oh, anytime.
And happy birthday.
Yeah, Jenny had to leave the room. She took a call, but I'll let her know that you said that again. She'll appreciate it.
All right, boss.
All right, Fred.
Talk to you later.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. All right, that was Fred Boenig from the Daily Ripple. And let's see. Wayne Noel in the Facebook live chat says the term racism is tossed around way too much. Most people have no idea what the term actually means. Well, we did discuss that earlier in the show. And, of course, if you missed any part of today's show, it'll be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org. Let's take a really quick break, even though we don't have a lot of show left. I want to play a couple quick things that I think are germane to some of what we've been discussing today, and then we'll be right back with the balance of our show today. You're listening to Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live on WMNH 95.3 FM.
How many times has this happened to you? You know you're genetically superior, but one of those genetic testing services tells you you've got traces of non-white ancestry. That's why there's Supreme Genetics, the only DNA testing service that tells white supremacists exactly what they want to hear. Want us to say you're a pure-blooded descendant of Thomas Jefferson, or Napoleon, or Wario the Evil Mario? Sure, fine, whatever you want.
I want to know I'm descended exclusively from white men, no women.
Then Supreme Genetics is the DNA testing service for you. Just swab your cheek with a Q-tip, put it in an envelope, then throw it away. We certainly don't need it. 6 weeks later, we'll send you a report that says you're Robert E. Lee's cousin or something.
My report is just one straight line back to white Jesus.
Supreme Genetics told me I'm 100% Norwegian. I keep my report in the glove box in case I get pulled over.
Supreme Genetics, because it's like, what are genes anyway, you know?
When something horrible happens in the world, you'll see the rise of two types of people. Number one, people who don't let fear divide them and instead choose to come together. And number two, racist idiots who don't deserve an internet connection. And here's the thing, right? I just don't like when people are bad at things. If you're gonna be racist, at least do it right. And look at this comment under my YouTube video. Go back to your country, you terrorist Paki, Afghan Indian Muslim slut. Hashtag make America great again. Now, I don't mean to discourage Merrick, okay? He seems like a great guy. But your stupidity bothers me. Okay, first and foremost, let's make education great again. In fact, hello and welcome. We'll begin by taking attendance. Are you here? Of course you are. YouTube comments are how you feel validated. Today we're going to be taking a trip around the world, so you'll need to pack. It's probably been years since you've had the chance to use your passport, just like your penis. But don't worry, this time you'll actually take off. To go back to my foreign country, we'll need to fly a long 45 minutes all the way back to Canada. But I'm assuming you thought my country was somewhere else. So let's fly across the world to the country of Paki, Afghan, India. India is all the way over here, across the ocean. So unfortunately, you won't be able to drive your trailer there. Oh, Kofefe. Once you board your flight, settle in. It's going to be a long journey. But that's okay. You can take a good rest. It must be so exhausting to walk right through airport security. The aircraft you're flying will probably be a double-decker, which means it'll have about 300 to 400 people on board, which is approximately the same amount of people at Trump's inauguration. JK, that's an alternative fact, but you're probably used to those from watching so much Fox News. Please note that we're not going to fly through the Bermuda Triangle because things mysteriously disappear there. In fact, that's probably where your education went. We're going to fly across the Atlantic Ocean, around Africa, and through this passageway that's very narrow. Just like your mind. You may recognize some of these countries we're flying over as places immigrants come from to steal your jobs, or just the same countries you steal oil from. Once we reach our destination, you'll notice that India, Pakistan, and Afghanistan are actually 3 separate countries. You silly American Aussie Brit. When you land and are going through customs and they ask for your occupation, make sure you say trash can. And when they ask your date of birth, be sure to say 3000 BC. You effing caveman. You'll notice right away that India is full of beautiful sights and culture. And I know what you're thinking. It probably smells like curry. And you know what? You're right. And it's delicious. And although there are approximately 175 million Muslims in India, there are approximately 2 billion in the whole world, which means if every Muslim was a terrorist, you wouldn't stand a goddamn chance. Good thing they're not. Now that we're here, the good news is your wife can save all that money she spends at tanning salons trying to look closer to my complexion. Quick travel tip. If you're going to India, they don't kill cows there, so there's no beef. But don't worry, because if you kill anything, it'll be considered mental illness. So you're good. I hope you've enjoyed this trip to where you think I'm from. And I promise, if I ever meet a genie, all 3 of my wishes will be for you to get an atlas. To be honest, whether I went back to my country of Pakistan, India, or even Canada, I don't see how that would benefit you, since my tax bracket helps pay for your kids' education. You're welcome, Timothy.
At Trump University, we teach success. That's what it's all about, success. It's going to happen to you. These are all people that are hand-picked by me. Terrific people, terrific brains, successful. We are going to have the best of the best. We're going to teach you what you need to know. We're going to also make sure, no matter what you do, as I said before, you're going to love it. Because if you don't love it, it's never, ever going to work.
Well, they should have known better. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. We have a little bit of time left today on Matt Connarton Unleashed. We are live on WMNH 95.3 and on Comcast 97 in Manchester, streaming at WMNHradio.org, and, of course, on Facebook via Facebook Live on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. The number to call is 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. Jenny is here as well.
Hello, hello.
And
yes, and give the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page a like while you're there.
Yes, absolutely. I do have some exciting news from. This is from another broadcaster. I was not aware that this was a thing or that this needed to be done. I don't know if there's like a time period for this or you know how long these agreements last. But apparently, this is from my favorite website, rightwingwatch.org. Very exciting. It says here, Glenn Beck is planning to renew America's covenant with God. That is
what?
Yes.
Oh, one-way ticket with the old man.
Our covenant with God is going to be renewed.
Is he going to cut off some of his foreskin?
Whoa, my goodness. I don't want to think about
that's
that.
how covenants are made, right?
Tom Blanchard says, boo-hoo, mummy, he called me a bad name and hurt my feelings. Okay. Welcome, Tom Blanchard. I think that's a new name in the Facebook live chat, although I'm not sure exactly what he's referring to. But I'm very excited about this covenant with God. I think this sounds like a big deal.
Is he gonna climb out on the Mount of Olives in front of a burning bush?
I don't know how this works. We'll learn together. There's some audio here.
Oh, exciting! Yay!
I think we're
going to hear all about how to talk to God.
Yes, well,
I'm excited.
Or we might hear about it. I don't think Glenn Beck is going to let us in on how to do it. I think he wants to probably handle this himself, but God bless him, literally, for doing this for us, because I think it's an important thing that America continue to be God's favorite. So let's hear about this covenant with God.
Well, wait a minute. I have to do something here, Maddie. I just got a message, and the person is making a very good comment. Hey, Jenny, I understand entirely the context of your comment about old white men dying off to get rid of that political view. But I dislike the dying off notion only because Andrew Colati said the same thing about legacy pain patients. Great show, by the way. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. But you're right. I shouldn't say it that way. You are right, and I do apologize. I shouldn't say it that way. I do wish that the people who have an older sense of what reality should be okay to get out of the political realm and retire and let some young blood in there that don't have the same hang-ups. Would that be a good way of putting it?
Yes, and prejudices.
Yeah. But I wasn't meaning to imply that I was looking forward to anyone's death. I would never want to say that, and I apologize if I implied that. So thank you for calling me out on that.
Yes.
I'm always good with being called out.
All right, so let's hear about Glenn Beck's covenant with God.
I told Tim 2 months ago, a month ago, I don't know when I told you, that I was going...
By the way, shout-outs to Glenn Beck's voice. Glenn Beck, no matter what you or I might think of him, the dude's got one of the great radio voices.
And
to
a face
do
for
something big, a restoring event next summer. And I have felt strongly that it is supposed to be a renewal of the covenant.
Oh.
And you immediately, and I said to you,
wait,
I think you need...
But Maddie, he said the covenant. Well, the covenant is the covenant with God that is involved with taking part of his foreskin off. So maybe I was right.
Oh, my goodness. Well,
I was right.
Well, I don't...
He just said it.
But why
Am I wrong?
Why would that be a part of it?
Because that's how humanity made its promise to God to keep the covenant was to cut off part of the foreskin.
But doesn't it depend on your religion?
No.
Oh.
No, you're all supposed to follow that. Just Catholics changed it a little while in the second or something catechism or something like that. I don't know.
Well, I'm uncut, so I'm probably going to hell.
You're going to...
I'm not part of the covenant, although I do enjoy having not been mutilated.
The person just clarified for us that Klondy guy was actually the dude that pushed Suboxone as the end-all be-all salvation of opioids, which is freaking ridiculous. If you know anything about medications, you know that particular drug is about as bad as it can get for addiction and heroin and a pill.
Well, hopefully the renewal of the covenant will solve all of this. Oh, that's all right.
To be there, you need to at least be on the board, if you will, to help shape it, because we have to do it exactly right. We have to repeat Washington and Lincoln. We have to do it right. And we as a people need to gather together and do it. So next summer, we're going to do it. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen in between to be able to get there. But we as a people can renew the covenant, correct? Because it is about us.
It's the people. It's the people, absolutely.
It sounds like a great undertaking. I assume there's paperwork involved. There's probably attorneys. It's I'm sure a very big deal.
Are we the only country besides Israel, right, that has the covenant?
I would hope so.
Wait a minute, what?
We better be the only.
We're the only country?
Other than aside from Israel that has.
Did Moses climb onto Mount Washington?
I don't know. I just know that we have the.
God, where do these people come up with this stuff?
We're only one of two countries that have the covenant. That's a big deal. This is very.
Yeah, man. He got up on top of Mount Washington and came down with the Ten Commandments.
This is American exceptionalism. The covenant.
If that's what you want to call it. I could think of other words, but exceptionalism wouldn't be the word I would use.
Oh, Fred says Glenn Beck is a Mormon. I didn't know that. I never knew that about Glenn Beck.
Does he have more than one wife, or is he not that kind?
It's probably not that kind of Mormon.
Wait a minute. Does that mean that Jeffries is feeding him the information from jail?
Who?
Jeffries, the Mormon guy that's in jail for sleeping with children.
And
calling it marriage.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Basically raping children and calling it sex with marriage.
No, I don't think Glenn Beck's
or underage sex, because I'll tell you that right now is disgusting. It's called rape.
I don't think Glenn Beck would be associated with anything like that. He's got his hands full trying to renew this covenant. What if
but I want to know where in the United States he's going to climb up to get it.
Well, what I'm worried about is there a gap in our covenant coverage? Is the covenant currently expired?
Does that mean we could be flooded out?
I don't know.
Because that's what the covenant only guaranteed no flood. Remember that.
Oh.
It can still crack the earth, open it up, and swallow us.
Maybe there could still be a plague or some locusts.
This is right. There can be a plague of locusts.
A plague of locusts,
locusts
yes.
in your buttocks.
Yeah, well, I don't...
You'll be poo-pooing locusts.
That would be terrible. Well,
wipe your poo-poos.
We're going to have to pray for this covenant.
Pray for poop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, these are two promised lands. There's only nations I know of that literally rolled out that way.
Right.
Evidence, historical evidence.
And
covenant lands.
And the Pilgrims, they left Holland because I'm sure they'll make it someday about tulip allergies, but they actually left because it was not a blessed land, right? It was not a coveted land.
They left because God told them in their solemn assembly, go to that land and make of it a covenant land. I have a work to do there.
So is Holland not eligible for the covenant?
What planet are these people from?
It does kind of sound like he's just making it up as he's talking.
Seriously, doesn't it?
Or maybe Holland just wasn't good enough for the covenant. They didn't qualify.
Blessed. That was why the Spanish people left Holland. It wasn't blessed.
I guess. Oh, well.
God.
You can't blame them.
You can't make this up.
I mean, if I were sitting there in Holland, and I'd be like, I want to go somewhere where there's a covenant.
In all seriousness, I have one serious issue about all of this. They breed and they vote.
Yes, they do.
I have an issue with that.
I think this is exciting. I'm into it. I'm into it.
No.
That's why I live there.
So anyway, this is the thing. I would just ask that you would you'd keep your calendar clear for summer next year, and you plan on spending your vacation with us, or at least a few days of your vacation. And
wait a minute, is he saying there's going to be a pre-sale for this, for the renewal of the covenant?
Only during the vacation, though.
Oh.
You got to do it during the vacation, or you'll miss the pre-sale. It's like a lightning deal on Amazon Day.
Because I'm going to need, is Live Nation going to be selling tickets for this? I just need to know.
No, you got to go to Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster is the route to God's events.
That doesn't even... Does that still exist? No, that got...
Yeah, it does.
Didn't that get swallowed up by Live Nation?
No, it still exists.
Are you sure?
You can go there and buy tickets to the Snoo Center. I've looked it up. When I was trying to talk you into going to a wrestling event, I looked it up.
They didn't get swallowed up by Live Nation. Are you sure?
Look it up. You got the world's like I used to say to my kid growing up. You got the world's largest computer at your fingertips. Look it up.
Well, I'll look it up after. I'm more concerned with this covenant. Remember Ticketron when we were kids? There was something called Ticketron.
I got news for you. When I was, 14 years old, 15 years old, I slept on a sidewalk with my mom to stay outside of a Ticketmaster overnight so we could get tickets to go see Prince.
Yeah, you told that story, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully this fall I will be able to have enough lockdown where I'll be able to tell you where we're going to be. I have distinct ideas, but I don't want to share until we have it all locked
We
down.
got that from
But
Scientology.
keep your plan open for next year.
The first time they pushed back against the wall.
Does that
I
mean
did
the reckoning is coming?
another,
People are going to be, they're going to be, what's the word I'm looking for here, Maddie? They're going to be raptured.
Oh, they're going to be raptured, yeah.
They're going to be raptured next summer. But wait,
Well,
that can't happen because then he'd have to go.
Well, and then there'd be no point in renewing the covenant.
Yes, but
that would be like
is he going to do that publicly,
that
or
would
is he going
be-
to do a private bris?
That would be like renewing the lease on a store in a mall that's about to close. It's like, why would you? You know, if you're going to be
Yeah, that's
raptured,
true, that's
screw
true,
the
yeah.
covenant. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. I hope that wasn't blasphemous of me to
Oh
say.
wait, doesn't that mean that
screw the covenant?
So we're guaranteed that the rapture's not going to happen next year. So we're good to go there, Maddie. We're safe.
I don't know about that. Oh,
No?
hello to
You're
Candace.
Catholic. You're supposed to be good to go.
Candace Johnson joins us in the Facebook live chat.
If you screw up, you just go hang out in a room for a little while, and then you go on. You're all set.
Oh, you're talking about purgatory?
Yeah.
Hmm.
You're just going to go hang out in a little room for a while. Do Mormons have purgatory, or is that just strictly a Catholic thing?
No, I think that's a Catholic thing.
So wait, he's a Mormon, so he's saying no purgatory. So I don't know, Maddie. Maybe you're not in there.
We're almost out of time. We'll wrap up with this. Anthony Scaramucci, who to this day, I'm so disappointed that he didn't last longer in the Trump administration, because I think he's a very interesting guy and very telegenic, if you will. But he's someone who, he very much loves Trump, but he does call him out on cable news when he thinks he's messing up. And this is from Mediaite. Scaramucci says Trump is turning into a racist. And I'll share the full comment. This is a very short article. We won't play the whole thing. I'll just share these comments with you. So again, this is from Mediaite. Former White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci has denounced President Trump's reprehensible tweets directing 4 progressive Democratic Congresswomen of color to go back to where they came from. In a radio interview with BBC's Today, the Mooch walked up to the edge of calling Trump a racist for his multiple slams against the 4 representatives, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and Ayanna Presley. So here's what he said, quote, "He's blowing very hard on a dog whistle that every ethnic group that's landed in the United States has had to hear. I don't think the president is a racist, but here's the thing. If you continue to say and act in that manner, then we all have to look at him and say, okay, well, maybe you weren't a racist, but now you're turning into one," unquote. Scaramucci insisted he's still a supporter of the president, but also said, quote, "Shame on them," unquote, to Republicans who decline to call out Trump's comments. So there you go. The Mooch.
That's like dismissing the little old lady in the nursing home that makes the racist comment. Well, no, that's okay because she's older. We should just say it's okay because, that's who they are.
Well, although the little old lady in the nursing home is going to be dying off soon.
Ooh, you went there. I didn't go there. Okay?
No,
I didn't go there. He went there.
What? No, it's factually correct.
You're the one talking.
Well, how old is the little old lady in the nursing home?
Well, I'm not going there now because I already said I wasn't going to say anything about people dying off.
Oh, right.
You're being bad, Maddie. You're not helping me any.
Ah.
You trying to get my butt kicked?
Who? You never identified who it was who...
I don't have to.
Oh.
I don't have to identify it.
Was it Bill Murphy?
I don't have to identify who it was.
Because he emailed me.
I don't know. What did you get an email about?
No, I already said. I read it earlier. It was about the black athletes. Oh, you weren't in the room, I think.
Was that when I went to the bathroom?
I think that was when you left the room.
I excused myself to the better room in the building.
The better room?
Well, my grandma used to call it the best room in the house.
Oh, that makes sense.
Why didn't you answer the phone? I was in the best room of the house.
Well, yeah. All right, so we're going to wrap up. It's been a very, very lively show today. Oh, by the way, we didn't get to it, but I did play a clip at the beginning of the show of Kellyanne Conway asking a reporter what their ethnicity was. Nicole Wallace, this is from Media, commented, because she worked for the W administration. She said today, "I would have been fired on the spot if I asked, what's your ethnicity, like Kellyanne Conway did." Oh, and we didn't get to, I'll have to save this for tomorrow because we do have to get to it. I want to read on the air the op-ed that Kellyanne Conway's husband wrote, George Conway, who is very critical of the president. And he wrote an op-ed of course, saying, yes, Trump is a racist. And I just continue to be fascinated by the dynamic of George Conway publicly being very tough on Trump while his wife works for him. Which is why some people still think it was actually Kellyanne Conway that wrote the anonymous op-ed.
Inquiring minds are wondering.
I'm skeptical. I still think it was Dan Coates who's on his way out. But anyway.
I miss Spicy.
Sean Spicer, yes.
Yeah, I want Spicy back with the moving podium. Oh, wait, that was SNL.
That was yes. All right, so we got to go. If you miss any part of today's show, it'll be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org, where we do archive all the programs. Thank you to everybody who participated today. And let's see. Don't forget, of course, too, the morning show. Tomorrow morning, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays. Thursday will be particularly interesting because Paul Cormier and Ryan Gorman will be on the morning show with Peter White at the same time. For the first time on the air together
I'm setting an alarm for this
since
one.
all that happened years ago. And, of course, everyone's friends now, but it'll just be interesting to hear them kind of revisit all that. So that will be exciting. And, of course, like I said, all the shows are archived at WMNHradio.org. And thank you, Jenny. Happy birthday. Thank you. Thank you to everybody that called. It was nice to hear from Mike Doyle and Fred Boenig and anybody I'm forgetting, because it was a very, very busy show. And everybody in the Facebook live chat, thank you all. And that's it. We're out. Talk at y'all a little bit later. Oh, don't forget to watch Ward 13 with John Hopwood tonight on Channel 23. He's doing something kind of funny. All right. Talk at y'all later. Bye.
Beliefs contagious.